Well, hello everyone and welcome to Momentum channel. My name is Mo, and in this video, we're going to take a look at our stock investment portfolio with Wealthsimple Trade. This is part of the weekly series where we are starting a challenge to grow our stock investment portfolio from a mere $5,000 all the way to $250,000. Of course, this is not going to happen overnight, but in this video, as well as the whole series here on Momentum channel, we talk about how to persistence and picking the right stocks and having that discipline. We want to get there and share as well our strategies, how we come about that by investing both in a mixture of dividend stocks as well as high growth stocks. So without any further ado, let's get into this video. All right, as you can see here, sharing on screen, we are showing you the latest and greatest about our personal non-registered stock investment portfolio with Wealthsimple Trade. And for the past 1 week, we had a negative return. In fact, it's showing a negative return of 1% or about $192 down. That's not the type of return that we were hoping to get from this portfolio. Nonetheless, you gotta take it as is. Sometimes, the stock market has those red days, and in fact, this past week has been one of such occasions. We're gonna take a close look how we've gone about it, what stocks we've bought, and what is the current and last status of our accounts. But let us walk through the various time periods. Our 1 month return, if I click on it, you'd see our 1 month return is showing fairly stagnant status, was down by only $32. Our 3 month return, though, is better. In fact, it's showing a positive 6% return over the past 3 months, or about $855. Our 1 year return that we would like to also show you, because it's a good indication of how far this portfolio has come. It is showing a positive 41% or about $4,632 gain. Now, as we go through the exact holdings that we have within the stock portfolio, you might notice that if you add up different earnings that we have on them, they're not going to add up to this number. And this is because over time, we've actually sold many of our successful holdings and used the money to buy alternative stocks. So keep in mind, that's why sometimes the numbers may not show exactly the 4,000 gains. And this is the reason. This is a dynamic portfolio, and we are transparently sharing with you all our stock buys and purchases over time. So if you are a fan and interested in getting to know more about how day-to-day life of a investor goes, and someone who's actually actively kind of trading in a sense in the Wealthsimple Trade portfolio and their stock investment portfolio, be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow along our weekly updates on our Wealthsimple Trade stock investment portfolio. All right, before I dive into the exact holdings that we have in this portfolio, I want to change things around a little bit and perhaps start by sharing what have been my stock purchases over the past 1 week and what have been some of our dividend income over the past 1 week as well. So let's get into it. All right, so as you see here, our dividend income over the past 1 week has been $5.76 Canadian dollar, and this was earned from Qualcomm. This is one of the semiconductor companies that we have a few shares of, and we earned this amount of dividend from Qualcomm. Now, for those of you who are following us on Instagram, you would get such updates on a more up-to-date version of it, because we pretty much posted about this dividend income the day that we earned it. So if you haven't done that, so I do encourage you to follow us on Instagram. On our Instagram handle, Momentum Consulting, we post frequently. We talk about various and latest posts that we've made to YouTube, but also we post other interesting contents such as our dividend income that we've earned. You see here a couple of those, as well as some other interesting and valuable information about stock investing and trading. Be sure to follow us on Momentum Consulting on Instagram if you haven't done that so already. All right, so if we take a look at our buys for this stock investment portfolio, In the last week, we've only bought 9 shares of one company, and that is the Real Matters company. We've already made a video about this company, so be sure to check that video out and why I'm investing heavily in this stock and trying to really take advantage of the dollar cost averaging. The stock price for this company has dropped considerably over the past several weeks, so we're trying to take advantage of that. I believe this is one of those companies that is still undervalued and underappreciated, with knowing how much potential they have and how much of a solid company, in my opinion, they are. So we've been adding to those shares, and you could see we bought 9 shares over the span of the past 1 week at different prices here that you'd see on the screen, including $14. I think the lowest that we got it was for $14.02, and the highest price that we bought them for was at about $15.39. So that's the range of shares that we picked up for Real Matters. And that way we brought our dollar cost average kind of down. We have not sold any of our shares, and we just actually added $150 in cash. Now, let us go back to the stock investment portfolio and walk you through all our holdings, how many shares we have, and what is their last return as of the end of last week. So let's take a close look at it. If you look at our portfolio and its holdings, you notice on top of the list, and these are all categorized alphabetically, we have Apple. We own 6 shares, which is showing a positive return of 4.49%. Followed by Blink, we still maintain our 2 shares. It is now showing a total return of 15.77%. Bristol Myers is a dividend-paying pharmaceutical healthcare stock. We have 7 shares, and it's showing a positive return of 23.73%. Next, we have Bank of Nova Scotia. We own 13 shares. It is showing a positive return of 26.47%. Next, we have Salesforce, or ticker symbol CRM. It is one of those companies that, in my opinion, is undervalued, and most likely I would like to add more shares of Salesforce. Now, there's a challenge with Wealthsimple Trade. As you know, when you buy and sell stocks in US currency, you have to pay the conversion fee. So a lot of our viewers have asked me why I hold sometimes US dollar stocks. It is something that I'm aware of, and in fact I do have a Questrade account with a US dollars account in it. Nonetheless, I do like once in a while to add some of those US dollar shares into my portfolio, but for the most part, those are the ones that I intend to hold them longer term. So that way, if I buy or sell them, they are not going to be that major conversion fee on a frequent basis. For Salesforce, we have 3 shares, and it's showing a positive return of 2.12%. Next, we have Corsair Gaming, and we have 9 shares. It is showing a negative 13.22%. This is one of those stocks that, as I see that we are in the negative, I might actually consider buying more in the coming week so that I can take advantage of dollar cost averaging and bring my average price down. We have a number of ETFs from Emerge. We have Emerge ARK FinTech Innovation ETFs. These are the alternative versions for ARK Invest kind of ETFs that are offered through Emerge in Canadian dollars. So if you are interested in Cathie Wood and ARK Invest ETFs and you're in Canadian investors, be sure to check these ETFs out. We have made a video in the past and talking to you about all these ETFs and what they entail. So be sure to check that video, as well. As they are in negative, most likely over the coming week, I intend to add to my shares and dollar cost average. Here we have 7 shares of EAFT with negative 7.11% return. We have 16 shares of EAGB, or ARK Genomics and Biotech ETF, with negative 8.59%. And we have 26 shares of Emerge ARK Global Disruptive Innovation ETF, EARK, showing a negative return of 9.32%. Next, we own 4 shares still of Gilead Sciences with a positive return of 1.79%. It's another pharmaceutical company, and it pays a dividend. Global Crossing Airlines, we still own 13 shares. It's showing a negative 12.19%. Neolithium Corporation, we have 62 shares. It is showing a positive return of 10.74%. It's a penny stock. Pfizer, another pharmaceutical company, 20 shares we own here, and it's showing a positive return of 11.97%. Palantir Technologies is one of our recent picks. We bought 10 shares of them, and it is showing a positive return of 2.64% here for our portfolio. And Qualcomm, as I talked about, we own 8 shares. We have 9.94% positive return for it. Real Matters, as we've been adding to our shares, now we have 139 shares, and it's still showing a negative 11.49%. Next week, most likely, I would add to my shares of Real Matters. Again, aggressively buying these shares. Ideally, I would like to buy and pick up these shares at the price under $14, but I would be happy to pick up these shares even at the price range within 14 point perhaps 2 or even 14.1 if I can pick up those shares at those prices. Royalty Pharma, we own 29 shares. It is showing a negative 2.31%. Royal Bank of Canada, we own 5 shares, and it is showing a positive return of 17.88%. Toronto Dominion Bank, another Canadian bank, we own 6 shares and it's showing a positive return of 22.79%. As for my bank stocks, I know that they are almost close to their 52-week high price, so which is why I have not really necessarily aggressively gone ahead to buy more of those shares. I'm trying to stay kind of put until the prices of these bank stocks go lower, and at that time I would most likely add to my bank stocks. I would like to add to my existing bank stock over the long term for sure, because they are solid dividend payers and the type of Canadian stocks that are solid in terms of consistent flow of passive income. And over time, although their growth might not be the most aggressive, nonetheless they are very reliable stocks to own in one's portfolio, in my opinion. Lastly, we have VRE or Vanguard FTSE Canadian Cap REIT Index. We own 12 shares at a positive return of 8.51%. Verizon, we own 10 shares with a positive return of 4.39%. We have XDV with a positive return of 17.31%. We have 5 shares. And lastly, we have XIT, which we have 14 shares of them at a positive return of 1.54%. XIT is one of those ETFs that I've been owning for several months now. It was showing a much greater return, but most recently they have actually gone down, I think, over the past several weeks. XIT is one of those kind of holdings that I'd like to definitely add more to my shares and essentially build a larger holdings of this ETF, because it's invest in information technology stocks in Canada, the reputable ones such as Shopify, OpenText, and a number of other ones that I think there's a lot of potential for them. There you have it, folks. A quick review and walkthrough of my stock investment portfolio with Wealthsimple Trade and my plans for how I intend to grow this portfolio into a $250,000 stock investment portfolio. Do let me know what you thought of this walkthrough and this week's update, and whether you own any of these shares in your portfolio. Is there any one stock or ETF that you'd like to know more about, or you think that I should consider to add to my portfolio? Let me know in the comment section of the video down below, and I will be sure to touch on that in my next video, and we'll take it from there. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate if you can give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from the video as well. And if you haven't done that already, don't forget to subscribe to Momentum channel. Here on Momentum, we post weekly various videos about stock market investing, finances, and financial freedom. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time.